always evolving over time while staying grounded in its identity. So please welcome here on stage Fatima Njoya in conversation with Jörg Ehrlich, the co-founder of ODEEH. Please welcome them on stage.
Thank you, Anne, for introducing us. I'm very excited to sit here today with you. We had some changes. Originally, you guys were like together here, but now I have you all for myself.
Exclusively.
Perfect, because we have a candid testimonial. This is how we introduced it. So we wanted to have a look inside. I ask you some spicy questions about the behind the scenes, because it's not easy to have a brand nowadays. Climate crisis, changes, politics, logistics, it's a lot for some small and also sustainable brands to take in. So maybe you can tell me a little bit more also about your role at ODEEH and then how you maintained to successfully lead the brand in the future.
Two big questions already.
You can start small.
Yeah. We started, meanwhile, 16 years ago with ODEEH after working for a couple of decades in the industry. So Otto and myself and the co-founder Kevin, who is responsible for... Do you hear me? Yeah? It's all good? Who is responsible for the distributional part. So we were three founding ODEEH in 2008, 2009. And as you just said, it's a difficult time today. But looking back, times have always been difficult, to be honest. We started in 2008 when the Lehman crisis, the Lehman Bank crisis was. And looking back to that point, I say to myself, how naive have we been starting a company at that time? In the end of the day, every day is a challenge. And looking back into these 16 years, it's a challenging time, but there's always potential for solutions, I think. There's never been a situation where I would say, stop. So sometimes you have these moments in your daily life where you say, oh my God, how do I survive this day? And 10 minutes later, the whole situation changes and something happens. And it's, that's a bit of the answer, probably.
It is. So going back to the time where you three decided to found the brand, you mentioned you worked before at other houses, you gained experience, you didn't start like quitting your job and then jump into the new project. You kind of developed having a day job, having the idea of doing your own brand or your own project, and you did it a little bit at the side. So back then, would you have imagined that this is going to be such a big thing now?
No. And I wouldn't have imagined as well at that point of our life that we would do something that looks like ODEEH looks today. So we, as I said, we were in the industry for years. Otto studied in Vienna at the Hochschule der Künste at Karl Lagerfeld at that time. He was professor there. I'm a man's tailor, and I studied then in Mönchengladbach. So we have two different backgrounds, and we met in Munich at our first job at Escada, where we worked together, and so we brought different experiences in this whole thing. And when we started, it was not easy to start after having big teams that we worked with in the industry. You can imagine at the job we did before we founded ODEEH was René Lézard, the company that doesn't exist anymore. And we had a team of 20 colleagues, and we were organizing the whole day this team. And that was one of the reasons why we said, let's do something else, because we felt that the dominance of organizing and structuring took too much time from ourselves in order to give a good design language. And that we wanted to change, and that was one of the reasons why we started with ODEEH. And we started with ODEEH, as you said, we had another job at that time, so we were able to build the company in a good and, for us, a real way financially and also ideally, because we had that other job that we could do apart from the ODEEH project. So that was a good thing, I have to say.
So is this something you would recommend to other younger designers? Because I feel in fashion, we always talk about those projects being independent, and a lot of people do not talk about the hard side. You maybe need funding, you need, patience.
You need connections and you need contact. I mean, we did it the way around. Let's say a lot of designers that we see here start right after school or right after having little experience. That can be a good thing. We choose another way. We collected a lot of experience in the industry. When we started, the weavers in Italy knew us, the production places. We had production places we could work with. So we were quite well connected as well in the sales part. The retailers knew what we do, what we stand for, and that was looking back, and that was our way to do it. I mean, I'm not here to give advices. It's a different time today, and we had the lucky situation that we were able to work in these big companies. We could learn and we could do mistakes in other companies, and that was a very good thing looking back. I don't know if three of us would be brave enough to start the company without all that, to be honest. So if you ask me for an advice, I'm not here to give advices, but
inspiration.
Inspiration maybe, and I think I mean it's tough. Having a company is not. We are now doing the 35th collection.
Wow!
You know, and so it's not about doing one collection and then you can sit down and relax and think in a silent moment about the next one. So you have to care about production. You have to do logistics. You have to have a financial backing and situation that is securing the production. You have to deal with retailers that pay badly and all that. So when I look at my daily day, it's about, I would say, sometimes it's 90% not designing. And very often we do the real design work we do on the weekend or in the time when all the rest is done. You know.
I mean, designing is a good word. So you started with jersey.
Yes.
And this is also, it was a very, I wouldn't say niche product, but it was a very common product. And you were like, there's this funny story I read where you were in Japan.
In Hong Kong.
In Hong Kong. And you guys saw this woman with this amazing garment and you were like, jersey. So nowadays you not only do jersey, you do different things. How was it like to let go of this initial idea and open yourself to the creative process of evolving, of transformation, maybe getting with the flow, the time and the challenges?
The thing at that time was that we, as I said, we came from a big company, a team of 20 colleagues helping us. And then all of a sudden you're more or less alone. And you have to do all the things by yourself. And we had to somehow concentrate. But we were used and experienced in doing collections with 500 samples. And we did men's and women's collections. So we did from the belt to the shoe to the coat, we did everything. And then all of a sudden you have this idea, I do my own thing, and you cannot do 500 samples. It's just not possible. So we had to find a way, how can we concentrate and how can we find a narrow path in order to start ODEEH? And then was this situation in Hong Kong. We were there for a freelance design job, and we were sitting in a hotel lobby, and there was a woman in a black coat, and I don't remember who said what, but one of us said, "Oh, that's a nice coat," and the other one said, "It would be in jersey, it would be even nicer." And then the other one said, "Let's do everything in jersey." And that was the initial start of how and it's the real story. I mean, that's not like a marketing thing. It's how it started. And that in that moment, everything was clear. And then we did, to come back to your question, we did like 3 or 4 seasons, everything in jersey, felted jersey, light jerseys, dresses in silk jersey. Jersey is a very broad field of where you can work, and it's not only T-shirts. And then after 3, 4 seasons, we started to enlarge the scale of ODEEH, and we always had a good stylist on our side. It was at that time a Berlin stylist, Kati, And she helped us a lot in developing and questioning the things, and that's. But we started like this, and then it went curvy until today.
This is amazing, and we're lucky that you're here still today. So, ending this first journey back to looking what have been in the past and how do you evolve in the future, how did your definition of success change during that times? Strategically, creatively, economically, maybe personally?
There are different levels of success. There's a very, as you say, there's a very personal level of success. There's a financial level of success. There's an ideal level of success. And it's all mingling together somehow. So I can't give you the precise answer. I think when you measure success only on one of these fields, you're losing something and you're not really successful. I think you always have to analyze the amount of success in different fields. You have to be somehow financially successful. If you're not, you can't buy new fabrics, or you can't do a campaign, or you can't pay your team or whatever. So there is the necessity of having a financial success. But you also need this ideal kind of success story for yourself in order to motivate yourself and to go freshly every day to work. So that's something that is also important. And you need a structural success in the company. You have to build a team. We are meanwhile a team of 35 colleagues in Berlin, in Munich, and in Giebelstadt near Würzburg, where we are based. So it's different fields, I would say.
I mean, this is also something that's nice about circularity, because you have those different fields and they all play together to create something successful.
Yeah.
But you wanted to say something.
And success only on the design level and only on, I have 25,000 followers on Instagram, or my show was viewed X times or whatever, is not the only thing one should look at. I think that's a dangerous thing, because fashion is a very vain business. I mean, and you can be very quickly blended by this feedbacks you get, and by the and you always should be you shouldn't trust it 100%, I think.
And also, fashion is very demanding. People always want to get to know the new thing and asking, okay, what's trendy, what's in, what's out. So let's talk a bit more about this is a very complicated word to pronounce, but I try my best. Versatility.
Versatility, yeah.
Versatility, wow. And staying true to your DNA. So if people buy a garment, they want something new, something that's nice, something that you experience seeing this code and we're like, oh my God, this is a nice design, we can do this. They want to be excited. So how can you make them excited, but also invest in something that they really want to keep long-term, not only for the moment?
I think in terms of circularity and keeping something long-term, you have to do something that has a good quality. Point. Otherwise, if you don't do something that has the potential to survive certain selections of yourself, we all do. Sometimes we clean our wardrobe and we give things away. And I realize it for myself, the things that I like most, or that the things that have a good quality, will survive in my. So that's the first step for circularity. If you do something that is just for the catwalk, or just for the moment, or just for 2 days, it's not enough, I think, in terms of sustainability and circularity. So that's the main thing. In terms of newness and what do I have to deliver to our customers, to our retailers. I mean, you see a lot of pictures here. Tobias, our creative manager, did put together, and what you see here is a resume of the last 5, 6, 7 years. I would say, Tobias, 10 years. Excerpts from that time, and what you see is not a classical DNA story that you might expect. It's as you said, we try to be very versatile. We try to be in a way very organic, and we try to surprise. We have to surprise ourselves. I mean, we are too long in the industry to think that the gray sweater is the ultimate piece of the century. So you have to surprise yourself. You always have to do things with the energy that you do it the first time, and you have to change. And looking back, I think changing in a fundamental way and in a structural way is for us at least is key and very essential. I see a lot of collections that, from my point of view, that's a personal perspective. It may not be right or wrong. It's just I'm saying that, I'm sharing that. I think a lot of collections are stuck too much in a certain color concept. They are black, gray, white, or they are, and I think in order to surprise retailers and customers, and you have to give a little more, I think. And maybe that's part of our success story, looking back, that we are constantly putting question marks behind everything.
That sounds nice and exciting. And adding to that, you mentioned that you learned tailoring. This is like your specialty. And also this is a sign of craftsmanship, is a sign of quality. So how does this background help you or ODEEH design the clothes that you are doing now that people really want to wear long term? Because when I think of my own closet, I have pieces from my grandmother and they are tailored very well. And I might have not bought it right now if I would have seen it, but because I own it already, I am very fascinated on the how-to-dos of the piece. So how can we have this exciting moments again, maybe?
I mean, as I said, I learned men's tailoring in a very small atelier in Frankfurt years ago, and I learned making suits, so they're very classical, and it still helps me a lot in order to do my participation on the collection. The one who is drawing the whole collection is Otto. Unfortunately, he's not here today. He's drawing everything. He's the drawing master. Nobody is better in that than him at our company. So it wouldn't make sense that I start drawing or sketching. But my part in this whole thing is to add the technical part, the construction part of pieces, doing how is a lapel done, how is a special pocket is done, how is the process of producing a pants, all these kind of things. And I think it's essential to know how to produce a piece. It's yeah.
And you also have this atelier approach where you work with smaller local productions, because craftsmanship is essentially something people connect with. Good products, long-living products, maybe also circularity and sustainability. How can you make people feel all those things? Because if you see the pictures, I mean, you can feel something because there was an idea and concept. But sometimes if you just see the jacket and you haven't touched it or put it over yourself, you can't transfer this feeling or idea.
It's an aspect of communication. When we do Instagram, Tobias is doing the Instagram stories at a company, and all in a certain sequence, he's showing atelier situations of ODEEH, and that gives us a credibility. A company that is typically industry driven and that doesn't have an atelier cannot deliver, and that's the good advantage. We have 4 to 5 seamstresses in the company that work with us, that do the prototypes and all that. We have pattern makers in the company that construct the pieces. Though there's a very profound knowledge of how to produce and how to construct the pieces, and this we can tell, and that it would be a shame not telling this story. You know, when you go to our stores on Potsdamer Straße or in Munich, in Brienner Straße, you see 12 pieces that we do. So we have this process how you work in the Parisian ateliers, that they do everything in a white toile before they cut it in the original fabric. And all these aspects we show and we communicate, and these aspects are part of our DNA.
This is amazing. So this is a call to action to you. Visit the store, touch the garments, put it over. I mean, you don't have to buy it.
No, you just go there
Just
and
like
you're
touch
very
it.
welcome to have a look at it.
Or maybe we talked earlier about it, you can buy it in resale. So going to this topic, designing circularity also means like craftsmanship, having connections with people for long term. You know them by names, how they work. You can visit them and watch what they are doing actually with your garments or the ideas that you brought to them. So what do you think about caring for your designs beyond the point of sale?
As I said before, the first step, it's like in a relay race. It's like a Staffellauf, you say in German. We are buying fabrics from weavers, so we have to be sure that these fabrics are certified, that they are organic. If possible, some fabrics you can't do on that level. So we always have to balance: is it important enough to not have it organic, or is it? You know, that's always a question. But as far as possible, we try to use sustainable fabrics, and so we deliver the first step. And as I said, longevity and doing pieces that have the potential to survive seasons. You know, we have a lot of customers. We just had an event in Hamburg at a retailer, and there was a woman. She bought a piece that was 9 years ago, and she came to the store with this piece and said, "Can you freshen it up a bit?" So it was like the seams were a bit loose and it was pilling a bit, and we took it to the atelier. And we sent it back to her, and she wrote me the nicest postcard for Christmas and said, "Thank you for that." And this is happening more and more, that people come and give us pieces that need a certain freshen up, let's say, and then we do that. And that shows me that people care about the things, and that also shows me that the pieces we do survive certain selections.
I mean, this is amazing. Also, it deepens the relationship between your customers and you. If they really know, if they call you or send you a letter or an email, you actually like read it and care for it. And I think this is also like a very important aspect of the product journey.
I think this is one of the main or the most important aspects. Is even by growing with a company, you should act like you are still small. I think that's the big thing, the big mistake a lot of huge companies do. They think that marketing and that those, all these budget cost-intensive initiatives are fine for everything. But we realize the more personal you act and the more personal you build a relationship to individual persons coming to our stores and meeting us and talking to us or to our colleagues, whatever, and giving them the feeling that in the moment he or she is in the store, she's the most important person in that moment. That's essential and much more important than having 50,000 followers somewhere.
I mean, this is also the reason people want to buy amazing clothes, because they make them dream, they tell stories, they make them feel certain ways. So also, as a designer, you're kind of a dreamer. You have this fantastic visions, then you put it down, then you actually realize it. But then also there's the economical side. So how does those are acting together?
Sometimes very well, and sometimes it's a big fight. Sometimes I have to fight against my inner designer personality and say, no, you're not buying that. And sometimes I have to say, I have to fight against my financial inner part and say, I will buy that fabric. So you have to, and experience helps there in that point. But you have two sides in your head, and you have to be aware that they should get along well together. In the moment when you just forget about 100% about the financial part, you're lost. In the moment when you're dominated by only financial fears, you're lost as well. So it's accept the duality of both, I think.
So looking ahead, what's next for ODEEH?
Oh,
Quick and dirty.
Quick and dirty. Next collection is starting. I mean, we are now selling the collection, the fall collection. In New York, it's starting next week, next Wednesday, and in Munich next Thursday, the first appointments. We decide from season to season what we do. Last season we did during Fashion Week, we did an event in our store. We did some, you saw some pictures, they're not here anymore, from fashion shows we did in Berlin. So we don't have this strategy that it always has to be Berlin or that it has to be always this or that. So we decided quite organically and spontaneously, also because we try to react sensibly to circumstances that are happening. We are not living in the easiest times in the moment. So we have to, we look in short terms. And when I look at the next steps, it's the next collection. We are showing the collection in Paris in March. We are planning a pop-up store in Amsterdam with ODEEH. So these are kind of projects we are working on. Tobias is working on some celebrity dialogues and, all that
happens
simultaneously. So it's not the one story.
But thank you so much. So the secret is to be open, stay flexible, and just enjoy the process as long as it lasts. Hopefully forever. Thank you for being here.